We always see ourselves as David, not as Saul the coward, not as the army of Israel in the ditches trembling. We see ourselves, yeah, that's me, David. I'm going to run at my giant until you get one. We never see ourselves as, we see ourselves as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'll never bow to the culture that I'm in. Oh, no. And as soon as they said, you can't worship, put your mask on and shut up, we all shut up and we all stopped worshiping. Now, I'm not getting in that. Just relax. But I'm just saying. We're always the Simon Peter that has the revelation and is bold to stand up when nobody else. Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living. But in reality, when we get around the wrong people or whatever, in the workplace or on the college campus or in high school, I don't know him. I don't know him. Oh, what are you doing at this party? I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him. We act like we're the champion. That's what I'm preaching on. We act like we're always strong, and that's kind of how we see the story of David and Goliath. And there's always a happy ending. Yay! And the giant's dead, and the big gigantic problem's over. And I am David, and Goliath represents the giant problem, and I'm always victorious, and I live happily ever after. And if you don't believe it, go look at the titles of books. And I'm not putting it down. I've preached sermons from that perspective, great lessons you can learn from it. But if you just look at some of the newest books, Facing the Giant, Defeating the Giant, Slaying Your Giant, Goliath Must Fall, Kill the Giants, You Have the Power, The Giant Inside of You, Release the Giant in Your Child, Raising Giant Slayers, Giants Must Fall, Slaying Giants in Your Life. And you're always David, and you always win, and Goliath is your problem, and the problem always loses. But if we are honest, I knew it was going to go like this when I got to this part. Giants tend to be fierce, and we tend to be fickle. And we tend to fail. 1 Corinthians 10 lists failure after failure after failure after failure. And then it says this unbelievable verse, and these things were written for our example. And then it concludes the whole story after failure, 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 failure. These things were written for our example. In 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 12, wherefore, let him that thinks he stands, thinks he's David, take heed lest he fall, because I've seen you fight your giants. You've seen me fight mine, and they keep getting up. They're like Jason. I kill them, and they get back up. They get back up. They get back up. Y'all know I'm preaching the truth. I mean, I'm not always the winner. In my mind, when I hear people preaching, I'm always innocent Abel. I'm never hateful Cain. I'm always loyal Abraham. I'm never greedy Lot. I'm always holy Moses coming down off the mountain. I'm never the wild backing it up on the golden calf, smoking weed around the campfire. Is that clear enough for you? Good. I had to get down on your level. I'm always David in my own mind. When I read the story, yeah, that's me. I'm about to run to this giant until I get a real one. I'm never King Saul shaking and cowarding in the tent. But can we be honest? You're not always the hero. Sometimes you rebel. Sometimes you're a coward. Sometimes you're a failure. Sometimes you're a loser. I'm going to get right down in it. Sometimes I'm a liar. Sometimes I'm a loser. Sometimes you're a luster. Sometimes you're defeated. Sometimes you're a sinner. Sometimes you're a bad guy. Sometimes you're a Pharisee. And if you can't admit that, you're missing half the gospel. And really, you're missing the best part of the gospel. The gospel is not that you are so together. The gospel is you have a champion who fights for you even when you don't deserve it. On your own, you're not great. I hate to tell you this, read all the books you want to read about awakening the champion in you, all of that. We all need lifting up. I'm not putting that down. I like good books that motivate and lift me up and get me going and pump me up and all that. But when it's all said and done, on your own, you're not great. On your own, you're not a hero. On your own, you're not victorious. On your own, you're not a conqueror. And on your own, you're not a champion. But wait a minute. What about Romans chapter 8? Nay, in all of these things, we are more than conquerors. You didn't quote the rest. You missed two words, through him. Through him. Everybody shout, through him. I am more than a conqueror. Everybody give him the greatest praise you can. That right there ought to release the worshiper in you. You are not a champion. You can awaken him and you can get pumped up, but then the endorphins, they go away. You get weary. I found myself this week. I was in the hills watching my champion go out in the valley for me and risk his life. I'm in the hill of failure. I'm in the hill of fear. I'm weak and timid and scared, panicked, afraid of the future. But here goes this pitiful, weak, looking in the natural, tall Galilean dragging a cross, so weak that he drops to his knees under the weight of it, and Goliath, Satan, belts out a laugh. This is it? This is your champion? Look at him. He can't even carry his own cross. You insult me by sending him? He doesn't have any weapons. Look at my weapons. His only weapon is blood. His only weapon is his name and his blood. What a pitiful weapon. I think all the books got it wrong. It's not that you're supposed to be like David. The real message is we have a David. The real message is we have a champion. You don't have to be a champion. And when you especially feel like a loser and not a victor, not a champion, when you especially suffer loss and setback and you're still struggling with that addiction, you're still struggling with that family issue, you're still struggling with that health issue, and you don't feel like a champion, you don't have to be a champion. You don't have to be strong all the time. All you got to do is do what the army of Israel did. The Bible said when they saw their champion defeat Goliath, and he has done it on the cross. He went to that cross and he defeated and cut Goliath's head off. Satan has been defeated. The Bible said the army came up out of the trenches and started shouting and ran toward the enemy's camp and took all the spoils out of their tent. And they didn't fight one bit. They saw with right perspective who their champion was? It was not in their strength, because when David went to fight Goliath, David, listen to me, was not just fighting for his life, he was fighting for his troops' life. And when Jesus went to the cross to defeat Satan, death, hell, and the grave, he was not just fighting for his life when he was turning and twisting with nails and spears. He was fighting for our eternal life. He was not just fighting his battle, he was fighting your battle that you're in right now, your battle for your family, for your destiny, for your purpose, for your calling against that addiction. He was not just fighting for himself, he was fighting for you. There goes run deep. The wind finds its solace in the dreams we keep. With every breath of twilight, every dawn's first ray, it whispers of the future while embracing yesterday. Through the meadows and the plains, over mountain peaks, the wind carries tales of joy every time it speaks. Of the love that never fades, of the bonds that hold, in the arms of the homeland where the stories are told. It dances with the willow, sings with the pine, a symphony of echoes. My hero. There goes my champion.